My name is Simone M. Matthews and welcome to my presentation on Crystalline Wisdom. Now our Earth, beautiful Gaia, is a giant crystal. It's a living, breathing, giant crystal orb of energy. Gaia has an innate consciousness and a most divine intelligence. Now this Earth as a giant crystal actually records the wisdoms since the beginning of time. It's referred to as our Earth holding the akashics, the light records of all creation. If we look at maybe to get a history or understanding of how Earth was formed, to then be able to see how it's a giant crystal and how we can work with Earth as a giant crystal. So if we go back and look from a science perspective, the Big Bang occurred around about 13.8 billion years ago. And that very central core of energy within the void suddenly expanded in all directions of time and space. And what was actually released was billions of these things called globular clusters, which are like spherical collections of stars that orbit this central galactic core or create like a black hole energy within the center. So there's billions, probably infinite, of these globular clusters. And one of these globular clusters actually became our Milky Way galaxy, and it was just within a few billion years of the Big Bang. So you have all of these spiral arms of all of the elements of earth, fire, air, and water coming together within the holographic field of spirit or innate intelligence. And these spiral arms are spiraling around this central galactic core or the actual black hole energy. And this creates our Milky Way galaxy. Now within the Milky Way galaxy are all these nebula clouds, and these are very unstable clouds of energy. They're made up of dust, gas, plasma. So essentially you've got the elements, dust being the earth, gas being the air, plasma being the fire, and of course we then have the water element come into being when we look at different elements of the gas coming together to create water. Held together, again, each of the four elements in this innate intelligence, a field of the holographic field of divine infinite wisdom. So you've got all of these nebula clouds within the Milky Way galaxy, and there's one particular nebula cloud called the Solar Nebula Cloud, which collapsed around about 4.6 billion years ago. And essentially when it collapsed, much of the matter congregated in the center, which actually formed our sun. You can see from the diagram on the right, the protoplanetary disk, our sun, and then creating like a whirlpool of spiral formation where each of the planets, these spherical bodies, began to orbit around the sun. So of course one of those spherical bodies is actually our Earth, which is orbiting around our sun. So it started to form 4.6 billion years ago. So just to put all that together, you've got the Big Bang 13.8 billion years ago, creating all of these globular clusters made up of the elements of earth, fire, air, and water through the holographic field. One of those globular clusters was the Milky Way galaxy. And then within the Milky Way galaxy are all of these nebula clouds. One of them collapsed 4.6 billion years ago, which created our early solar system, and hence our Earth is actually rotating around our sun. So the early Earth was this, you're probably aware, this big fiery molten ball made up of dust, gas, plasma, which is the fire, and of course the water. So it's containing each of the elements. And then throughout the time moving forward to Earth today, it is cooled, creating the Earth's crust that we know it, and then 70% of the oceans. Of course, we went through the phases of Pangaea being one actual land mass, and now we have the separated land mass and Earth as we know it today. So what is Earth actually made of? We can see it's made up of earth, fire, air, and water through the holographic field of intelligence. But what is actual Earth, and how does this relate to crystalline wisdom? When we look at Earth, what it's made up of, it has an inner core, which is iron mixed with nickel, and then it has this outer core, which is actually liquid iron mixed with nickel and other trace elements. And then surrounding that is the mantle, which is made up of a lot of rocks, iron, magnesium, and lots of other trace minerals. And then, of course, you've got your Earth's crust, which is your rocks, minerals, silica, a lot of ice, and so forth. So we can see there's a lot of iron, lots of different trace elements, minerals, rocks, and so on. What are these aspects? What are they? They're actually crystals. Because when we look at what makes up the iron, the nickel, the trace elements, minerals, and so forth, they have something called a crystalline structure. And a crystalline structure just means it has a regular, continuous lattice structure. In other words, its molecular formula forms this beautiful sacred geometric grids. And actually, they form grids that are akin to sacred geometry. The cube, which is the earth, the tetrahedron, which is fire, the octahedron, which is air, the icosahedron, which is water, and the dodecahedron, which represents the eternal field of spirit. So all of these aspects of what Earth is made up of has a crystalline structure, or when we put crystals together to create, say, certain minerals or metals, it becomes polycrystalline. It just means taking a couple of two or more elements and putting them together. So what is the properties then of this most sacred crystalline structure? Because we can see that our Earth is made up of one beautiful crystalline, polycrystalline grid of energy. What are the properties? So, sorry, I'll just look at this slide first. So we see that Earth, the core, is one solid crystal. The outer core is a liquid crystal. The mantle is a solid crystal. And the crust is a solid crystal. So then what are the properties of crystals, this crystalline structure, which gives Earth this innate crystalline wisdom? So the properties of crystalline structures is they can absorb and store energy. And in addition, they can emit and amplify energy out into the field. So Earth is this incredible crystalline orb of vibration which can absorb and store energy and then transmit that energy. So what does this mean for Earth? The crystals of the Earth are actually the DNA of our planet. They hold the complete story, the akashic memory, the creative story since the beginning of time. Because remember, when we've looked at the formation of Earth, it was formed from the globular clusters that were actually spurted out from the Big Bang. So it holds within it the elements of earth, fire, air, and water through the holographic field of the infinite intelligence, and holds the entire akashic memory because being a crystal, it absorbs and it stores energy. It holds the light records of all creation. And it's referred to as being the DNA of the earth. The higher dimensions throughout Earth's evolution, so whilst it was a molten ball in the early stages of our solar system, the uh, sphere of our early solar system, what the higher dimensions worked with Mother Earth to build her portals and her ley lines, to strongly give a strong electromagnetic pulse to Earth to place her position within the solar system and her relationship with other stars, with other planets within the solar system, to work with Earth's most divine and sacred evolutionary potential. So the higher dimensions are, for instance, the sixth dimensional conscious beings of the Pleiades, the seventh dimensional conscious beings of Sirius, and of course the eighth dimensional conscious beings of the Galactic Center or the Galactic Federation, as well as beings within Earth itself, crystalline beings. The ancient civilizations, so the souls having a human experience that have walked the earth, have been the weavers of this grid over the time. So not only have they been receiving that innate wisdom and the evolutionary history of Mother Earth that's been imprinted in there from the higher dimensions to understand her evolutionary cycle, but they also recorded their own wisdoms in working with Mother Earth for their own personal soul evolutionary journeys and that of the planet. So they recorded aspects such as how they powered their civilizations, how they used very advanced communication methods as given from the higher dimensions, teleportation skills, and understanding our innate and interconnection with the plant and animal kingdom, as well as how to use nature to heal, crystals, looking at nature divas, plants, essences and so forth to really optimize our health and well-being. All of that information is recorded within the crystalline field of Earth. The crystalline field of Earth also has a precognitive story. And as an example of that, I'm reading a book at the moment, The Book of Secrets by Deepak Chopra, and he talks about in his homeland how there are scribes who actually scribe or detail those souls who have placed the intention to come here to Earth but haven't yet come. It may be hundreds or thousands of years into the future. And he actually visited one of these scribes that brought out his story that explained his life, his soul when he chose to come through to birth, in other words, the astrological, numerological pathways he's chosen, that the parents that he chose, even down to their names, and to different key aspects of experience within his life, even up to the day or potential of when he will die. It's not that you don't have free will, but you make these choices of intention and ripple that out into the field for your soul to have its personal evolutionary journey of growth, awakening and awareness, but also for the evolutionary journey of the planet. And so the Earth actually records that history, and we can tap into that history at any time to understand our own personal journey and how we're an innate part of the journey of this particular planet. Even science is now understanding more and more the innate ability of crystalline fields to absorb and store information. So, for instance, just a couple of articles, this was recorded in Scientific American in 2010. The ability of being able to store photon energy, that's light energy in crystals, and these experiments were repeated thousands of times, and then the ability to later retrieve that information as a three-dimensional hologram. And then another article in Scientific American in 2012 looking at the storage of data within quartz crystal and seeing how it's such an immensely powerful storage facility is quartz crystal that it can actually stay stored. Their guesstimates and their scientific work says for over 300 million years. And so science is beginning to understand the innate ability of our Earth to be one huge library of storage of information of the past, understanding the present, but also precognitive, being able to see in a potential future for how we can actually work with the innate wisdom within the Earth to bring peace, to bring harmony, and to bring kindness back to Mother Earth once again. So how can we access then this crystalline wisdom? Because our science has said, goodness, we know how to actually program that information in. We can see how we can program it in. How do we actually access it? Now, while science hasn't taken that next leap and go, well, the minerals, this entire crystalline field of Earth since the beginning of time has been there. What about if we access the information? While science hasn't made that leap, us as individuals can work with that wisdom now and proactively begin utilizing it within our lives. We can begin by utilizing crystals, having them within our environment, utilizing them for hands-on healing, even just popping a crystal within a glass of water and drinking the essence of that crystal, its vibrational field. When you hold a crystal, that crystal isn't separate from the Earth. It's connected through the holographic field. It's innately connected to the portals and ley lines of this planet. So whilst you're working with an individual crystal, you're actually working with the entire crystalline field of Mother Earth. That's crystalline wisdom. And so you're innately opening up your heart, your consciousness, your heart-mind connection into that field of Mother Earth. Your heart's toric field is expanding to a consciousness beyond the limitation of society memes and suppression or victimhood, and to opening up to a higher potential because the wisdom of the Earth begins to speak through you. When we look at Mother Earth and we looked at the higher dimensions, created these portals and ley lines, what they were actually building is the electromagnetic field of Mother Earth, or Earth's toric field. So Earth, her central core, remember, was the crystalline iron core, which is the heart energy crystalline center of the planet. And that's the center of the torus. The energy moves up from the center of the torus, expands and moves up, out, around Earth, and back in again in a pulsating electromagnetic field of energy. Now, Earth's toric field actually creates the electromagnetic field, which creates the north and south pole. It creates Earth's atmosphere, but holds within it that innate wisdom, or the consciousness, the akashic records that are within the crystalline field of Mother Earth. So how can we connect with Earth's toric field to access Earth's crystalline wisdom? When we look at our own personal energy centers or our own personal toric or heart field, and you may wish to look at the Heart Math Institute, to Google it online, to look at their website to understand the scientific experimentation of measuring and how we can consciously work with that heart field. When we look at as a generalization of people and their heart fields, there tends to be a limitation to the heart field. There's this pain, sense of separation, struggle or victimization in our world. But what is actually happening as we connect to and open to crystalline wisdom? There's an opening of our heart field, an expansion beyond the limitation, opening up to a most natural state of kindness, of compassion, opening up to our natural place of peace and of love, because that's our innate state of being, not a state of fear. That's a learned expression from the limiting memes and social conditioning of our societies and old belief systems and imprinting. That's the old aspect of fear. When we connect with crystalline wisdom, we open to our innate aspect of divine love. We open our hearts and minds to crystalline wisdom. We can think, see, feel, be, experience life outside of the box. We are really empowered to hear that innate wisdom within the earth from her whole evolutionary cycle and from the understandings of the higher dimensions that have worked with Earth. So we can create the solutions to all problems within our lives and the world at large. We can do that from a higher place of consciousness when we open our heart field. This awakening to crystalline wisdom has been prophesied by indigenous cultures all over the world. It really is that now is the time on the planet to remember and embrace this most sacred ancient wisdom of our ancestors, the crystalline wisdom of Mother Earth, and begin to embrace these into our day-to-day lives. Crystalline wisdom is the mirror reflection of your most divine and innate beauty. And it gives you, each and every one of us, gives us the opportunity of experiencing our authentic self as a miraculous divine being. To see and fully experience yourself as extraordinary. When we open our hearts, expand our heart field, to embrace and breathe and beat together as one with the heart field of Mother Earth, it offers you the opportunity, it offers each and every one of us the opportunity to live our lives in gratitude as a divine expression of the perfection of the truth that you are love. So how can we fully open the heart fields to step out of that conditioning of fear and to live and breathe and beat together as one with the heart of Mother Earth? As I said, utilizing crystals in your life, but spending time in nature, having your feet, your entire body connected with the earth, to transcend the busyness of the mind and to actually allow your heart to beat and breathe and hear and experience the rhythm of the earth within you. Because when you do that, you expand your heart field to be the heart field of Mother Earth. But in doing so, you also expand to the heart field of the Milky Way galaxy in which we live, the higher consciousness, the 8th dimensional frequency through the galactic center. It's the 3 hearts of creation connecting, beating and breathing together as one. To understand more about that galactic heart breathing, in being able to open your heart to the heart of Mother Earth to hear and be and experience and live her most divine crystalline wisdom, as well as then opening up your heart to the heart of the galaxy, then I highly recommend my Galactic Heart Meditation, which is on YouTube, to help you to connect in, to beat and breathe through the three hearts of creation. Whilst it goes for 13 minutes, once you've learnt the basic skills, each and every day you can take your first breath of the day and Galactic Heart Breathe, and to at each and every conscious moment throughout the day, honour that connection to Mother Earth and Galactic Heart Breathe, and then to take your last conscious breath before falling into sleep at night, Galactic Heart Breathing, giving you the potential to stand outside of the limitation of fear of this planet and to actually awaken to a higher consciousness. When we do so, it's when miracles happen. It's when we are actually being the change we want to see on this planet. Other aspects of connecting with crystalline wisdom, if you wish to study it in more depth, to actually channel the information from individual crystals, as well as work with collective crystalline wisdom of our planet, is our crystallite healing practitioner and teacher modality, as well as our essence of angels, to channel and be that frequency from the core of the galaxy, that eighth dimensional frequency from the Galactic Federation, is our essence of angels, to anchor that wisdom into the crystalline field of Mother Earth, our practitioner and teacher modules and essence of angels as well. Or you may wish to do a self-study online correspondence course. We have two healing modalities, which is Shiala Dreaming, which is an extended study of through 13 modules of my book, Shiala Dreaming, Understanding Crystalline Wisdom, as well as our Soul Evolution, our 12-module self-study course, which is awakening your DNA, expanding your heart field to awaken your DNA to its highest potential, to beat and breathe through the three hearts of creation. Well, my name's Simone M. Matthews, and thank you so much for joining me for my sacred talk on crystalline wisdom. Om.